The Debt Management Office says the amount paid on rentals for Sukuk bond has risen from 8.17 billion naira in the first quarter of 2022 to 33.13 billion naira by the second quarter of this year. This was 305.51% increase of the federal government's domestic debt service report for each quarter. The DMO Director of Portfolio Management, Mr. Oladele Afolabi, stated that although the development is a non-interest loan, the government is expected to pay rent on the road to Sukuk investors during the tenure of the loan. Sukuk is a Sharia-compliant bond-like instrument used in Islamic finance. Meanwhile, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has expressed concerns over many policies of government which have continued to compound the already challenging operating environment for manufacturers. Addressing journalists ahead of the association's annual general meeting in Lagos, the president of MAN, Mr. Masur Ahmed, explains that in the last 30 years, peer countries have overtaken Nigeria in the area of industrialization, while the country has stagnated and even gone backwards industrially. He maintains that critical challenges such as multiple taxation, regulations, foreign exchange issues, energy prices, and insufficient public services like water, electricity, among others, will continue to hamper the growth of the sector if not abated.
The theme of the 50th Annual General Meeting is, and I quote, agenda setting for industrialization in Nigeria, or for industrializing Nigeria in the next decade. This is born out of the need to take stock of the nation's journey to industrialization, to ascertain the pains and pain points, to highlight the performance limiters, recognize the gains and growth milestones, and to identify the learning curves and hurdles ahead. All this with a view to crafting a robust agenda for researching industrialization, albeit manufacturing in Nigeria. Without a thriving and robust manufacturing sector, it is unlikely that the challenges our economy has been facing, especially challenges of insecurity, challenges of increasing poverty, are not likely to abate.
As economic and finance experts from public and private sector of the nation's economy get to attend the upcoming 2020 Lagos Economic Summit, also known as Eyigbeti, to deliberate on the paths to sustainable socio-economic growth of the state. The state government has announced that a development plan to this effect will be launched at the summit, as it encapsulates the future of citizens, investors, and businesses with positive results achieved. Special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on Sustainable Development Goals and Development, Mrs. Sholakwe Hammond, who made this known earlier today on TVC News' flagship business show, Business Nigeria, noted that the move is hinged on the evolving changes across the globe.
So it's good to have a longer-term plan, because really investors would tell you they don't care so much if the environment is up or if environment is down. What investors want is certainty. We want to know where we're going. If we know we're going through a recession, the businesses that thrive in recession time, and there are ways that you respond. If we know we're going through a prosperous time, there are things that you do. But you have to know. So what we're doing is putting a plan for all of us to know, and it's something that also helps make government more accountable. Everybody knows this plan. Everybody has been part of this plan. It's been socialized with students. It's been socialized with people in the informal sector, in the markets, with artisans, with the highest levels of business, with international people. Everybody knows. So you dare not default from this plan once we have all signed on to it. And that's part of why we're doing it. And then if you bear in mind, the last plan really was 13 years. So if we stepped up a little bit to 30, it's not that far off. And then if you're looking at longer-term investments, longer-term money, the Africa Union plan is 2063. It was a 50-year plan. So if Lagos is doing a 30-year plan, I think it's very, very aligned. But what are the big pillars of this plan? We've tried to keep it relatively simple. 4 main pillars. So it's around a thriving economy, as we say. That is the heart of Lagos. That's what brings everybody here, is the commercial opportunity. So you've got to have this thriving economy, and it's looking at the real sectors that we want to support. So Lagos is great, and in spite, I know one area we probably get dinged a lot on is traffic, and it's still very much work in progress. Dear people, in that 30-year plan, the aim is to make Lagos a city where you can get to anywhere, you go from where you live to where you work within 30 minutes.
The Apapa Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service has intercepted 2 40-foot containers loaded with unregistered pharmaceutical products. falsely declared as electrical goods and concealed with other household items. Showcasing the seizures, the area controller, Yusuf Malanta, reveals that the imported items were entered as electrical goods, but after a physical examination of containers, it was discovered to contain pharmaceutical products without NAFDAC registration numbers. He says the seizure contravenes Section 46 and 47 of the Customs and Excise Management Act C-45, 2004.
This illicit item were discovered inside the container, and it has no NAFDAC registration. So based on that, a seizure has been made, and the command is mounting 100% investigation to ensure that we brought the culprit to book. The fight against importation of illicit drugs is a continuous process.
The stock market closed weekend trade positively following gains by many big caps firms. Let's join Effiong Ekop with detailed reports on markets.
After nearly 2 weeks of low trades, the Nigerian stock markets during the weekend deals pushed off securities prices. The positive trades came on the back of gains by GT Holdings, Transcorp and UBA. Others in the bracket of gainers included FTN Cocoa, International Breweries, Sovereign Insurance, Fidelity Bank and NGX Group. We saw Men Baker, Nascan, Academy Press, UPD Crete and RT Briscoe taking losses from the markets. 137 million units of shares worth 1.71 billion naira were traded in market sectors. And outside Nigeria, many African markets closed deals in the negative territories. The South African Exchange at Johannesburg ended business in red as investors sold off equities and bond holdings. The market in Nairobi, Kenya was equally down following sales pressures from investors. Finally, the stock market in Accra, Ghana closed deals flat as investors avoided market sectors. Effiong Ekop TVC News, Lagos.
Asian stocks declined on Friday, extending a global equity slide to a third day as investors fretted over recession risk amid signs of further aggressive central banks' policy tightening. The MSCI's broadest index of Asian Pacific shares declined 0.85%. Japan's Nikkei dropped 0.7%, pulling back from a 2-week high reached on Thursday. South Korea Kospi slipped 0.33%. Australian stock benchmark retreated 0.59%. Hong Kong Hang Seng Index was 1.17% lower in early trade as mainland China shares remain closed for the final day of a Golden Week holiday. Oil prices on the international market rose today and were headed for a second consecutive weekly gain supported by OPEC Plus decision to make it its largest supply cut since 2020. Despite concerns about recession and rising interest rates, U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude recorded an upward price margin of 0.84%, selling at $89.19 per barrel. Brent crude sells for $95.17, with an uptick of 0.79%. Bonny Light maintains its upward review of 0.82%, selling for $95.63 per barrel. For the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers offer $94.05 per barrel, with an upsurge of 2.08%.